Decision Plus has been and still is a leading stock market service provider. From training to coaching, we cover it all. Try both our software as well as our coaching site, completely free for 10 days without obligation. No credit card is needed to sign up for the trial. The trial subscription will be automatically canceled for you at the end. DecisionPlus.com, your stock market service center. Real-time coaching has been created. We search and classify critical reports and technical movements. You can visualize or hear the best buying and selling opportunities. Get real-time advice all day long and 3 live coaching shows per day. Let us do the work and save your time for trading. Try marketgurus.tv free without obligation for 10 days in the menus above. Market Vision Plus is the trading companion of so many investors. Make your fundamental and technical analysis easy with Canada's #1 stock market decision-making software. Research, decide, and follow your positions with Market Vision Plus. See the menus just above this program and try Market Vision Plus for 10 days without any obligation after the show. When it comes to day trading, Trader Plus is the right tool. Track 50 quotes simultaneously. Create dozens of quick lists. Display as many as 30 real-time intraday charts at the same time. Watch the action with candlesticks or bar charts as fast as 10 seconds. See the market by sectors. Use the chart models already prepared for you. Try Trader Plus for 10 days in the menu above without any obligation.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Swing Trading Show. Today we're Friday, August 14, 2015. The question bar is open, folks. If ever you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And I think that today it's definitely an ideal timing to ask any of your questions, folks, because right now with the market situation, we have a market that remains neutral. So if you're considering any particular stock, any particular strategy that you want to adopt on the markets, though, definitely it's time for you to ask those questions, because next week, this is a week where we might have a clearer cycle on the markets. Now, let's take a look at what potential do we have in terms of those cycles, because we see that we're continuing to remain stuck within this neutral range. No sectors that change a cycle today. On the NASDAQ, for instance, here, if we could definitely go below 5,000 points, we see that the downward potential remains at 4,900. So there's about 100 points to be gained if ever this decline is confirmed on the NASDAQ. So for bearish ETF, it will definitely pay off. This is why on marketgurus.tv we continue to have SQQQ and our analyst shares our portfolio, which is the bearish ETF on the NASDAQ. Now, if ever we go on the upside, though, the thing is we have a limited potential. 2 reasons why. We still have this downward trend that is there. We still have all those moving averages that are there at 5,083 points, right? And even if we go up, there's another resistance that's at 5,139, and the other top is at 5,219. So we have less points on the upside and more points on the downside. So this is why we actually have, and we have recommended mostly a lot of stocks on the downside on the American markets. And that's actually our exposure in our analyst shares portfolio. So I continue to recommend you to continue to ask your questions, folks. Definitely this show is going to be dedicated to your questions. I'm not going to take a lot of times in the markets because all markets right now we see are neutral. Take a look at the Dow Jones situation here. We have a situation on the Dow Jones where the downward potential is there. However, on the Dow Jones, the fact that we have already reached that support, definitely we're going to need a further wave of selling pressure to bring the Dow Jones further down. I think that the Dow Jones with major caps like Apple that took a big hit, I think it's more likely to have a more of a solid rebound towards 17,750. And so this is one of the Dow Jones that I'm a little bit more bullish. On the SPY though, I think there's definitely more probability to go on the downside because we're close to that support, to this 200-day moving average. If we go down on the SPY below 207.5 though, that will definitely clearly confirm the bearish momentum on the market, and 203 could be the target on the stock, on the the SPY. The TSX still neutral. I want to highlight today, folks, on the TSX, we had an attempt to start a bullish cycle on the gold sector. Right now we have gold here that continues to remain stuck within that triangle formation. What happened though on gold? Well, first of all, technically speaking, we have reached a downward trend, so we had to expect a pause. Second thing, there's a news that came out, I think yesterday, saying that the demand for gold from China and India, which are the two biggest buyers of gold, has been the lowest level for the last 6 years. This is actually really a negative. So this is why we have, I think, gold that is going down. There have been some exception on the gold sector. For instance, there has been Eldorado Gold, which has been able to maintain its gain slightly. But in terms of buying signals, did we have several entry points on Eldorado Gold? Not that much. Maybe one here, but quickly we should have taken some profit around that top. So it was kind of tough, right? But it's mostly a stock that continues to maintain its upward trend. Most other stocks are continuing to maintain their correction. So if you have not taken some profit on your gold positions, we have said that 2-3 days ago, well, right now you're in a situation, if ever the correction continues, where you're going to have to close your positions, especially if Gold Corp goes below $18, folks. You're going to have to close that positions if you bought in within that bottom on Gold Corp. Same thing too for I Am Gold. You could maybe be a little bit more patient on a stock like I Am Gold, wait for the stock to go below $2. But for those of you who are more risk averse, I think if the stock goes below 214, reverse that really short-term upward trend, it's a clear signal to get out on that stock. The only sector where we had some volatility has been some stocks in the solar sector, where a stock like China Mingying continues to remain neutral. Same thing for Jazo, but none of them I confirm a real breakout. And if we take a look at the situation overall in the market, take a look at MarketGurus.tv here. In terms of the buying signal, on the TSX today, only 3 buying signals, 5 selling signals. On the Nasdaq, 4 buying signals, 7 selling signals. And on New York, 5 buying signals and only 2 selling signals. So that shows you really how boring the markets are today. In terms of the news, we had some news in Europe where the GDP for the second quarter has increased by 0.3%. It's still below estimates. Inflation is declining, and the yuan, which is the Chinese currency, finally has stabilized. Now, Bear, I'm not sure I understand your question, so I want you to kind of clarify if I'm saying it right, if I understand it right, I mean. So why are odds 20 times greater of exiting at the bottom when selling in a downward trend? So, okay. So why are odds 20 times greater of exiting at the bottom when selling in a downward trend, then exiting at the top when selling in an upward trend? So basically, if I understand right, you mean that why is it so hard to get out when you think the stock is reaching a bottom, then selling at the top? Well, I think it has to do with investors' philosophy, mostly because the thing is that as traders, I'm guilty of that too as well. We want to make more money when we trade, right? So selling at the top, knowing that the stock has the probability of potentially rising higher, it's kind of difficult. Now, when you buy a stock at the bottom, you always expect that eventually some buyers are going to come in, and it's frustrating to know that a stock, you're going to have to get rid of it. I give you an example. There was a stock here that we were talking about, for instance, Brokerage Communication. Here it was a buying signal. That was a clear bottom on Brokerage Communications. Now, we see intraday-wise on that stock, several times we had opportunities to get out of that stock, because look at this. Here was a buying signal, right? And since then, the stock here tested that support, made several attempts to go below that support, and finally we get back up. So it's a matter of patience. I think right now, if ever a stock like Brokerage Communication maintain its decline, go below $10, and we see a pursuit of that decrease, well, you're not gonna have to be emotionally attached to that stock. You're gonna have to close it. Now, to sell a stock at the top, it can be tough to do so, but I think one thing that you could favor is what we do on MarketGurus.tv is what we try to do. We try to open, let's say, a full position on a stock. Whenever the stock reaches a certain target, we're being disciplined enough to take some profit. So let's give us some example I don't know, let's take a stock in the consumer staple sector, for instance, a stock like George Weston, right? So you had a clear breakout here on a stock like George Weston. Now, where could you have taken some profit on that stock? Well, I think one thing you could have used is to see the stochastics. So you bought that stock here when we had a stochastics that was trending upward. Now here you could have say, you know what, I'm gonna potentially reduce my position, but it was not enough to do so. Or you could have seen, you know what, whenever I make a 5%, I'm gonna take some profit. So here you could have, let's say, taking some profit on a stock like George Weston and say, you know what, I'm gonna be patient as long as the stock remains within an upward trend. So I don't know if I'm clear enough there, but basically what I mean is that you need to respect your exit point. Meaning, if you're buying a stock, discipline yourself to say that whenever the stock make 4.5 or 5%, I'm going to take some profit. At least, even if the stock in next few days decline, at least I know I'll be able to take some profit on that stock. When you're buying a stock at the bottom, even if it can be frustrating sometimes when you see the stock going down, what I would suggest you to do is to be a little bit more patient. Let's say you bought that stock, George Weston, around this area. It went down here. On that day, you could have been a little bit more patient, but if you saw tomorrow, the second day that the stock was pursuing its decline, you should have gotten out on a stock like George Weston. And you had here another opportunity to get into that stock when it confirmed a neutral formation and broke out of it. So that was a new opportunity to get it into that stock. So it's all about maintaining your discipline, maintaining your exit points. And I think with that, you could actually try to be a better trader. Because I think all traders, including myself, we're all guilty of this. Now, Adam, what will make energy stocks go up again? Well, Adam, really, it's a matter of, first of all, supply and demand. We need higher demand, too much supply. Saudi Arabia, which is a lead member of the OPEP, continues to pump oil, 30 million barrels of oil per day. We still have Iran. If the sanctions are lifted, Iran will actually increase the supply of oil. At the current price, not a lot of companies in the US have shut down in terms of the shale oil gas. So we have an excess supply, not enough demand because the economies in the Eurozone and China is slowing down. And also in the US, we're growing, but not at a faster pace enough to be able to take out that excess supply. So basically what the IEA expects is that in 2016, we might have a stabilization phase, but so far we need to see how demand is going to spike up, and we need to see more companies, more energy companies going bankrupt. And so far it's not the case.
Find answers to your questions by emailing your host at btm@decisionplus.com.
5 good reasons to manage your investments with National Bank Direct Brokerage. Commission fees fixed at $9.95 anytime for all clients and starting at only $6.95 for active investors. No administrative fees if you hold at least $20,000 in your accounts. Registered accounts available in U.S. currency. Powerful tools to help you manage your portfolio. Award-winning customer service and satisfaction levels amongst the highest in the industry. To learn more, visit nbdb.ca or call us now.
Real-time coaching has been created. We search and classify critical reports and technical movements. You can visualize or hear the best buying and selling opportunities. Get real-time advice all day long and 3 live coaching shows per day. Let us do the work and save your time for trading. Try marketgurus.tv free without obligation for 10 days in the menus above.
So to complete your questions, my explanation of your questions, that what will make energy stocks go up again, as I said, we need more companies that go bankrupt or have a lot of cash flow problems, and we need some appetite from big players to start to buy those companies. And we'll need, of course, higher demand. And if there's a higher demand, big companies that have large cash flows, big pockets, will be able to buy some companies. And one particular company that has a lot of problems is Pacific Rubiales Energy. Today, the company announced that they will change their name because the camp that they're exploiting, which is Rubiales in Colombia, they will no longer have the opportunity to exploit that camp. So this is actually something that's negative. We don't have access to a camp that used to generate some cash flow. So what's going to happen to a company like that? I think definitely it's a dead hand for a company like that. What I know that the stock like Vermilion Energy Trust, the CEO said that they were starting to look for potential acquisition, but to look for potential acquisitions, it's good, but we also need an oil price that's favorable. And so far, as long as the oil price remain within that downward corridor, how could we expect to have appetite from big companies to buy small cap companies? And this is why I think that really it's going to be based on how the economies in China, the Eurozone, are doing to actually spike up demand to allow oil to go up. Now, Mark, what's going to happen to BBD.B? Well, BBD.B, the stock today, again, we made a news on Market Gurus TV. Moody's, S&P, and today Fitch have downgraded Bombardier credit rating. The stock has a lot of challenges. I think there's a new management in place right now. What we know is that to raise some cash, the company say that they might put their railway division either do an IPO or sell some stake in it, but continue to remain to have a controlling stake in that company, which is a good thing because that's a big generator of cash flow for Bombardier. Now the big hope is to see how the C-Series is going to play out. I think this weakness that we've seen is that investors have lost confidence, lost patience with Bombardier because they have had several delays on the C-Series and while the costs have continued to surge. So what's going to happen? Really, I can't tell because I'm not in the day-to-day management operations of Bombardier. But what we need to see is to see the end of this year in 2016, how the orders are going. Are they actually being able to ramp up production? And see also, because with all this delay, a lot of companies have been able to invest more. I'm talking companies like Embraer, Boeing, that have been able to invest in companies that could compete the Bombardier C-Series. So they made a big bet on that C-Series, and definitely it needs to pay off. So if the orders of the C-Series for the end of this year, for next year, doesn't go well, definitely think that Bombardier could pursue its decline. One thing that could help the stock to go up slightly is if they make the IPO of the railway division. That could bring some cash, bring some optimism. But so far, the trend is our friend, and as long as the stock remains within its downward trend, it's not a buying signal at all. My outlook on Bombardier is really bearish. You need to make your proof that you can make some money and manage efficiently your operations of the C-Series. That's my verdict on a stock like Bombardier. Now, the market is so boring. What should I do right now? Well, what you should do right now definitely is to actually monitor the sectors or the stocks that you would like to buy. We are in a situation where several stocks, several sectors are in a neutral cycle. For instance, the energy sector is back into a neutral cycle. So are there some stocks that you're willing to buy on that sector? Well, there might be Nuvista Energy that should be watched. On the gold sector, if we take a look at this situation here, we have a correction. So let's hope that this correction could stabilize there. And if ever the gold sector can reverse this downward trend, be in a buying spree if ever the sector goes above 140. And the industrial sector continues to remain weak. So you're watching to see can the sector goes above 185 points to be confirmed a clear buying signal. In our financials, we actually have a situation where we are close to the oversold situation. So right now we could have a potential rebound in the financial sector that could bring us towards the top here at 245. So that might be a point if ever we have a stochastic that goes there where you might buy some banks, and here we'll have a pause. So that is actually what you should do. So it's really a timing where I think for those of you who have remained patient, who are still staying on the sideline, what I would advise you to do is take a look at marketgurus.tv. Every day, there's a list of all the stocks that are in a neutral formation. So on the TSX, take a look at the stocks that you like that are in a neutral formation, on New York as well, and on NASDAQ as well. And also take a look at the stocks that we publish every day, on the stocks that could break out or break down on marketgurus.tv. And with that, you'll have a shopping list. And with that shopping list, whenever we have the next cycle on the upside or on the downside on the market, well, you'll be well positioned with the shopping list that you have done with marketgurus.tv. Now, folks, to finish the show, I want to show you here the best day trade of the day. 460. It's only increased by 464%. It's $3 one entry point here, another one there, another one there. So those were the two entry points that were profitable. Now 10.05 is going to be the new entry point on a stock like $3. Can it pursue its increase? there's this moving average that's there that's blocking it, but if it does, 1050 is going to be the target on a stock like Trina Solar. But I will definitely not feel comfortable to hold on to it overnight, because we believe that it's more likely that markets will go down, because all of them, even if they remain neutral, they're still closer to their support than their resistance, and we saw how limited the upward potential is. So that's it, folks. See you next week on the Swing Trading Show. So far, I think for swing trading, stay on the sideline, but as I said to the last viewer here, make sure that you continue to put some stocks on your watch list, because eventually we're going to have a new cycle that is confirmed on the market, and those of you who will benefit will be the ones that will prepare their trades or their stocks on the particular sector that they like. See you next week, and have a good weekend.